Hey everyone, it is nostalgia time once again. And as you can tell, we are in a completely different setting. So rather than me being in my office or in my home's basement where all my laptops are, we're instead at my grandparents', but that is besides the point. So, now that the old desktop computer, the old Inspiron, is all set and ready to go with the Windows Insider program. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the OEM install of an Acer Aspire 5750 laptop computer that was manufactured in 2011. So the setup UI here has not changed at all. In fact, this is the same thing that Acer has done for all of their computer lines around this time. English is our language. We are going to restore the operating system. We'll hit next. And this is what it is going to label, so we'll hit next. This is going to erase absolutely everything, and we'll press OK. And now the files will copy one by one off the disk onto the hard drive. So just like that other Acer, what it's doing first is it's copying the recovery partition files onto the hard drive, and then it will use this recovery partition to reinstall Windows. Now it's ready for disk 2. And now it is ready for the third disk. And now it's ready for the fourth and final disk. Alright, so now the restore finish, and it has restarted to begin setting up devices, drivers, and software. So now the system is restarting again, and this time now it is going to boot into a system preparation mode where it will begin installing software. And I can already see that the edition that shipped with this computer is Windows 7 Home Basic. So it's shipped with the Home Basic edition of Windows 7. And this is a much different design Acer screen than on that other Acer OEM, that 5742 Aspire that we looked at a little while back. You can see it's installing some Windows updates and some drivers. However, as we have found out, the Launch Manager is the driver or piece of software that seems to be the most common problem with this particular install. So what we're going to do is we are going to just get the Task Manager ready for when that comes up. So we're going to hit Control-Delete. We're going to open the Task Manager. So there you go. As you can see, it's under a different name. It's called DryTech Launch Manager, but either way, it's the same thing. So we're going to go into Task Manager. So we got to keep going until we find Launch Manager. And then before Acer takes over, we're going to hit End Task. Alright, now the Launch Manager should have closed. Okay, it is no longer running, so it will now continue with the install process, as that piece of software isn't really compatible with it being on a virtual machine. So it should shortly continue from the DryTech Launch Manager now that it has closed. And now we will just let the rest of the software install. And then once it is done, well, before it is done, however, it is going to reboot several times. It's going to reboot several times during this process. And then eventually, once everything is entirely installed and all the temporary files have been cleaned up, it will then prepare the out-of-box experience, and then we will set this machine up for the first time. has been sitting for about an hour, and now we are finally ready to set it up. So this, of course, as you saw earlier, comes with Windows 7 Home Basic. And of course, all of these regional settings are correct, so we'll hit next. And then, of course, we go through the usual Windows 7 setup procedure. I'll name this Aspire 5750, just because why not? We're not going to put a password in. And then this is the license agreement for Windows 7 Home Basic, Service Pack 1. And then this is the agreement from Acer. I'm going to use recommended settings. The time is not correct because as of right now it is 12 midnight. 12 midnight, Saturday, December 30th. As of the time of recording. AM, not PM. Next. And home network. And now we just let it do some final steps, and then we will be at the desktop. There is the custom Acer lock screen background that was specifically designed for this specific machine. And see, we have the Acer logo at the top right, and then you can see just below preparing your desktop, there's the 2-minute countdown timer. Alright, so now after that screen we get a registration card. We're going to skip that. Acer recommends McAfee Internet Security. And sure, we'll go ahead and activate the McAfee. And that's the final two things. And now we are at the desktop. Yeah, for some reason on VirtualBox the audio's a little choppy. So here it is. This is what the Acer Aspire 5750 would have came with if it was purchased brand new. So let's take a look at some of the software that is installed on the system. But first things first, I'll show you that this is Windows 7 Home Basic, Service Pack 1, the Acer. But then because this is not the proper product key or hardware, it is unactivated. And McAfee, of course, is unsuccessful because the servers for this specific piece of software have been shut down for a long time. So unfortunately, it won't work. So right away, of course, we have a custom Acer wallpaper set by default. So we have a couple of icons on the desktop, but let's take a look at the full list of programs that are installed on the machine. So we have Adobe Reader 10. It comes with Microsoft Office Starter. So you can install Microsoft Office Starter 2010, or if you've already purchased another edition of Office 2010, you can input the CD key there and you can use that. Also comes with Live Mail, Messenger, and Movie Maker, essentially a lot of the Windows Live essentials. So let's see, there's some Acer stuff here, but we'll take a look at all of them in just a moment. So I suppose Office Starter consists of Word and Excel and all that stuff. Yeah, let's go ahead and install Office Starter and take a look at what it actually comes with. And while that goes, let's first take a look at what stuff is included on the desktop. So first off, of course, is the Acer games, which I believe this is based on Wild Tanget as well. Like the HP. Yep. This is a standard copy of Wild Tanget, and then of course these are some of the titles and such. And then of course this pulls up that same registration card that we just saw. Yep, it pulls up the same form. But instead of saying dear customer, it just says customer. We're going to exit that. And then next we have a tutorial to something called ClearFine. It opens up in Windows Media Player and launches in full screen. Wonder if this outputs any sound. It does not look like it does not have any sound, but basically it shows that if you install ClearFi, you can it just explains about what you can do with it and whatnot. And then of course McAfee, we know what that is. And here is an older version of Skype. The version on here is 5.3. So that what it did was an installer. And then of course the first time you launch Skype, you'll be prompted to create a Skype account, and then if you already have a Skype account, you could just put in the credentials and log in as that. Please enter your full name and initials below. I suppose it uses the information entered during the out-of-box experience. And that's the license agreement. And this, I suppose, is a sample document. That's about updates for Office. So this is a sample document, and it talks about what kind of stuff is included. And of course, since this is Office Starter, it doesn't include as much. So of course, there's the e-recovery management program, which is used to restore the system. However, I'm gonna tell it no because it may start the recovery right away. And then Acer Updater is just what I believe you'd expect it to be. It's a tool where you go and update drivers and stuff for your machine. And then the identity card, of course, talks about more information on your machine. Yep, so of course it detects updates to drivers. Kind of like an early implementation of how Dell has their tool. And then this is Acer's modified Welcome Center used in Windows 7. So this is their custom Welcome Center. I believe this one is independent from the one in Windows 7. So then next we have Acer Backup Manager, which of course enables you to back up your files to a sort of, flash drive or external hard drive. You could create a full image backup of your drive, and then you can also migrate files from an old machine to a new one. Yeah, we'll just close all that out. And then next is the user guide and manuals for this computer. And of course they all open in Adobe Reader 10. And then of course the bookmarks are the guide in various languages, in fact all the languages. So it talks about some safety information and that stuff. And then clear.phi. This is, I suppose, a share setting for the program, or does it open that full screen interface we saw in the tutorial? It looks like it kind of does, but you can decide whether or not you want to share media and such. And then we have the MyWin Locker, which is of course a file safe. And then there is the Shredder. This is a trial, but essentially it's what it is. It's like a Edgistech Shredder. So that's what it's called. And then we have the complete line of games that are pre-installed. And then of course we have the ones that are usually included in Windows 7. So we have Agatha Christie, Bejeweled 2, Chuzzle, Crazy Chicken Cart, Fate, File Drive Nitro, Insanquarium Deluxe, Jewel Match, Jewel Quest, John Deere Drive Green. I wonder what that is. Minesweep, well, that's Windows 7. There's the More from Acer. Mystery of Mortlake Mansion, Penguins, Plants vs. Zombies. Apparently that was voted Game of the Year many years ago. I did not know that. Polar Bowlers, Slingo, and then Torchlight, Virtual Villagers, Winning Dash, and Zuma. And on Internet Explorer here, there's that Bing bar. This page cannot be displayed. I suppose the games that are already installed on your machine. Yeah, these are the games that are already installed. Yeah, so these are the games already installed on your machine. And then we have the Intel Control Center and Rapid Storage Strategy and Rapid Storage Technology. And then we have the usual stuff in the maintenance section of Windows 7. There's McAfee. And Office Starter, we only get Word and Excel. However, those other Office apps like PowerPoint and Outlook would be reserved for other stuff, like other things and above. Would essentially be reserved for, I believe, all editions above Starter. Also comes with Silverlight and that News Espresso program from that other OEM. Has Norton Online Backup, which we already know what that has. It also has NTI Movie Maker version 9, release 9. Skype, nothing in the startup folder, and then the 2 remaining Windows Live programs. So this specific software has a 60-day trial from the manufacturer. I'll just decline it because I'm not going to need it. Yeah, that's the same sound from that HP copy of Vista. (2004), and it actually works on Windows 7. Oh my gosh. Yes, and here's NTI DVD Movie Maker. Of course, you can make a DVD video, you can make a data disc, you can create audio discs, you can do photo discs and slideshows. There's actually more options. You can clone a disc, and you can erase a disc and do info, and then there's some other stuff too. So a blank notification, that's nice. So let's take a look. Oh, that's right, this is Windows 7 Home Basic, so we're locked into the OEM wallpaper, and the basic theme, as the arrow, is reserved for Home Premium and above. And in the custom gadgets, the only custom gadget we get is My WinLocker. The other gadgets are the typical ones found in Windows 7. But we can look at all of the backgrounds by going to See Windows Web. And then these are all of the wallpapers. So only comes with 2 themes, the landscapes theme and the default Windows theme with the default background. And then these are the 3 Acer wallpapers it comes with. And apparently it looks like photo gallery is set by default, not photo viewer. But yeah, it also comes with Live Essentials 2011. But yeah, these are the wallpapers it comes bundled with. And I wonder if it comes bundled with any screensavers. So while we cannot change the background from the desktop directly, we can still go into the control panel and we can change the wallpaper there. And if we look at the screensavers, it looks like it comes with a custom screensaver. So let's see what the full screensaver looks like. So it starts with that Acer logo, and then there's the default wallpaper that is set as our background. I think it's just like that other screensaver. It just cycles through the default wallpapers, bundled with this special OEM copy of Windows 7 Home Basic. And of course I can use the Windows 7 Professional product key on my Dell Vostro 1550 to upgrade the edition of Windows 7 here to Professional, where then I can enable the arrow theme and get the complete personalization settings. So yep, just as I expected, it shows the default wallpapers. So here's Slingo. This is one of the pre-installed games here. I'll just do A. But yeah, Slingo is one of the pre-installed games on this copy. But I really want to see what that John Deere thing is. Yeah, that's the warning that we don't have a proper video card on the system. We either don't have a proper video card or a proper video driver. Very buggy game. The game requires a 3D graphic accelerator with hardware transform and lighting. I don't know why it says that, but it could be because it maybe came with it at the time, or maybe this would be reserved for professional. So here we can change this menu, but it says file not available. Yeah, so that's probably a corrupted game on this system. So I'm not sure why that is, but it is what it is. So, with that said, that is a look at the OEM install of the Acer Aspire 5750 laptop from 2011-2012. So yeah, it was released around April of... So I have confirmed from review dates that it was released in April of... It was released sometime around late 2011, early 2012. Because at the time, Windows 8 was still in development. And at the time, Microsoft had not released the Windows 8 developer preview. Yeah, because first came the developer preview, then the consumer preview, and then the release preview, and then eventually the release to manufacturing of Windows 8. So it would just be a few months before Windows 7 would be superseded by Windows 8, and then it would eventually become the main operating system to be preloaded on computers through 2012 and early 2013. However, during the first portion, like I think the second half of 2012, computer manufacturers, some of them offered the option to downgrade to Windows 7, or some chose to preload Windows 7 and then offer the upgrade to Windows 8, like Lenovo did with the ThinkPad Edge E545 laptop that I have. However, unfortunately, its original recovery partition is long gone, but as you saw in an earlier episode, I was able to install a close enough recreation of its factory image, so at least I'm glad for that accomplishment. But in our next episode, we're going to continue on our trip through Acer land, and we're going to continue looking through these Acer OEMs just to see what other systems through this time and maybe some other times have looked like. So until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.